I've got 2 series ideas, which one should I pick? How about both at the same time? That should do the trick. 22 full years of questing, no banks or death, this will be fun. RuneScape 3 Hardcore Ultimate Ironman, questing through 2001. Welcome to, well, you heard/saw the intro song. RuneScape 3 Hardcore Ultimate Ironman, the quest through time. Now, that is a lot, so let us quickly go over what that all means and what this series is all about. RuneScape 3, that's the game. Pretty straightforward. And also going to be the cause of many challenges here. Ironman mode is an official game mode where, for the most part, you are self-sufficient. Can't trade with other players, pick up other people's drops, use the Grand Exchange. You are allowed to do various multiplayer minigames and boss with other people, but we will get to that when that exists. For now, solo. Hardcore Ironman is also an official game mode, and the one we are technically on here, meaning that we cannot die or we lose the hardcore status. Eventually, we can get up to 2 more extra lives, but that is not going to happen, again, for quite some time. Ultimate Ironman mode is an official game mode only over in old school RuneScape, where the additional complication is that you cannot use banks. So we are adding that in over here. And the quest through time, if you've seen Jimmy's by release series over in old school RuneScape, it's basically the same thing. Doing quests in order of release using only updates that existed at that time. So basically, doing quests in order while not banking, dying, trading other people. It's going to get complicated. Especially since we are playing with 22 full years of updates. As we are sitting back here in January 4th, 2001, on the very first day. Before we jump into doing quests and all that's going to involve, let's familiarize ourselves a little bit with this world as of the first day. For starters, we are fresh off of not Tutorial Island, because that does not exist until later. We've got literally nothing, because we didn't get to choose a class. That used to be a thing. And we also did not get to choose whether or not to opt into World PvP. So it has defaulted to no, I suppose. We'll call it that, I guess. Anyways, we're here in Lumbridge, which actually took a bit of doing, since the current spawn point for new players is Berthorpe. I had to walk over here. I mean, technically we might have been able to use home teleport, but also that doesn't exist, so trying to start this off right here. There's also no lodestones, or many, many other things, but we will get to that. The main big things to worry about are places and skills. Lumbridge exists, at least partially. Lots of stuff here doesn't actually exist yet. Like these guys. Hans does them. But before we start running all around the world, let's look at the skills. We've got all these skills that currently exist as of 2023. At least for now in 2023. Another skill coming up. Necromancy. But these have not always existed, turns out. Here we have what the skill list looks like for me. Missing a lot of things, including a lot of things that no longer exist, and a few wild cards. Basically, we don't have archaeology, invention, divination, dungeoneering, summoning, hunter, construction, farming, slayer, runecrafting, agility fletching, or fishing. So that immediately narrows down our list of skills we can actually train. But it doesn't finish narrowing it down. Not by a long shot. Including in this RuneScape Classic First Day stats list are also a few skills that can't be trained at all. There is thieving, which is here at the beginning, and then it goes away for a little bit, and then it comes back. Impossible to train, has no content, just sitting there as a nice 1 out of 1 for your total level if you're interested. And a similar story for Herb Law, which will eventually become Herb Lore. Again, can't get experience, can't train it, there is no content. It just exists. And the same for crafting. Influence is quest points as a skill. Don't really need to worry about that one too much. And then there is good and evil. We've got pray good, pray evil. There is no content, but you can train them by burying bones. And burying only bones. Because only regular bones exist. Since we don't have both of those skills, and wasn't entirely clear how you decide which of them you get experience in, burying bones will just give us prayer experience, and that's going to be allowed. But we can't actually use any prayers, because they don't exist yet. Good magic and evil magic actually have content. We got 3 spells for each. Good magic has Chill Bolt, Burst of Strength, and Camouflage, while evil magic has Confuse, Thick Skin, and Shock Bolt. Many of these no longer exist. Some of these are actually prayers now. And none of them have the same rune cost as any equivalent spells currently do. In general, though, we can say that the strike spells exist, and I guess confuse. Camouflage isn't even a thing. Never was. And the prayers are in prayer, which we can't use. So, I'm going to allow air strike, water strike, That's probably it. We're probably not going to be doing too much magic here at the start, based on the difficulty of getting runes, especially with many of the updates that have happened since 2001. But yes, the good and the evil are eventually going away to become regular prayer and regular magic. But that is an update for later. All those, and tailoring, another skill that is here, can't train it, there's no content, eventually is going to be added to crafting, but for now, doesn't exist. So besides burying bones for only one prayer skill, and doing magic for one magic skill, the skills that actually exist are attack, strength, defense, hit points, range, cooking, woodcutting, firemaking, smithing, and mining. As you might expect, these are in very different form than they are in 2023. For attack and defense, there are no requirements on any weapons or armor. If you get your hands on the best stuff in the game, which is currently adamant, you can equip it at level 1. Is that incredibly busted? Yes, that's why level requirements were added later. But we don't have such an advantage. Not only do we need levels to wield weapons and armor, we need even higher levels than they were originally changed to. We wield bronze, level 1, and iron is now level 10, instead of eventually it was at level 1, and adamant is currently level 40, when it started at level 30. And also it started at level 1, technically. So, ultimately, if we work our way through things, we could get some adamant armor and weapons. And that is basically the top of the line on day 1 here. Strength is strength. It gives hitting harder. There you go. Simple. Effective. Always has been. Hits is hit points, is constitution, health, all that. Interestingly, behaved very strangely with ranged at the start. And speaking of ranged, it technically exists. Ranging does not give you hit points experience, no matter what you do. And the only things that exist are the regular short bow, regular long bow, which we can fire bronze arrows, and also the regular crossbow, which can fire crossbow bolts. There is no ranged armor at all. So, ranged, even more than magic, is very difficult. We can technically train it, but for practical purposes, it's really not viable. Also, it's terrible. We will be existing here under RuneScape 3 combat. Even though we are in legacy mode, it's still quite different than it was on the first day. Moving on from combat, though, we've got skilling. And the amazing skill that is cooking. You might have noticed that fishing doesn't exist. So what are we going to cook? Turns out, not very much at all. Even among the things you might think of that you could cook that aren't fish, nearly all of them don't exist. The current recipes available are bread and cooked meat. Cooked meat can be made of beef or chicken. It is the same thing. So, fundamentally for us, there's technically 3 foods: bread, cooked beef, and cooked chicken. But that's it. That's all we have to cook for training the entire skill. And that is all we can use to heal ourselves, which is also not great. Fishing is going to be very welcome once we get there. Woodcutting, we can chop down trees. Just trees. The normal ones. There's only one tree. You can chop it down. I mean, there's more than one tree, but there's only one kind of tree. There are axes. Those exist. Up to adamant if you can smith it. Or from up to steel from Bob. Not that it's going to make a huge difference chopping regular trees. And then what do you do with those logs? You light them on fire, obviously. Fire making. Burn normal logs. And that's it. Pretty wild. And then probably the most fleshed out skill at the start here: mining and smithing. If you've heard of the mining and smithing rework, you'll know that this is going to be complicated for us. But have you heard of the first smithing rework? We can currently smith a variety of things: bronze, iron, steel, with enough levels, mithril, adamant. But the level table for smithing is out of control. Just absolutely wild. It starts off pretty normal, what you would expect. Make a dagger, make a helmet, normal levels, normal requirements, or at least they used to be, before the second mining and smithing rework. But if we get down into the multi-bar recipes, like say, plate bodies, things get wildly out of control. For bronze, everything's pretty normal. Bronze plate at 16 smithing, reasonable. Iron plate body, 64. Steel plate body, 99, possibly 96. Whichever one of those is, it's irrelevant. You are not going to be getting 90 stats at the start of the game. These are what we have to work with here. So, realistically, that's not happening. That's not happening. Especially with the mining and smithing rework and how pickaxes work. Because, oh yeah, there's only one pickaxe. It's not even called bronze pickaxe. It's just the pickaxe. So the penalty for using low-level pickaxes is going to be a big problem for a while. It's going to be difficult, to say the least. Also, whether or not we actually do any smithing. Because technically, There's the in-between step of doing the whole heating the bars now, which is not a thing that existed on the first day at all. For some things, it's going to be required to do some smithing, because also including the mining smithing rework, nothing drops things anymore, which is a problem. Any loot, gear, equipment we could have gotten, no longer really a thing. And that changed drop tables, which is also a whole situation. So we basically need to go through every drop table of every enemy we're fighting, compare it to what it started with, and going to allow subbing out from equipment to salvage just for selling's sake. Can't do anything with it otherwise. So we're still missing out on actually having drops we can use. But it's something. So yeah, skills. They technically exist. Many of them don't. The ones that do, also many of them don't. But this is where we're starting. And now, the world. We've got the world map as of today. And here's the world map as of today. Missing, similar to the skills, massive chunks of the world. And what does exist, does it really? Can you honestly say it does exist? There's not much here. We are looking at pretty much just Mistalin. We got Lumbridge, we got Varrock, we got Barbarian Village, all missing many amenities and content. There's Ghost Town, not Edgeville. Edgeville's not technically a thing. Draenor Manor exists without Draenor Village. It's just a field over there. We got the Wizard's Tower, very cool. And we have the Chasm out in the desert with no Alcarid. But we do have a big pile of player-owned houses coming soon. They would, in fact, not be coming soon, unfortunately. So this is what we're working with. So let's go around, try to do a few things here. Get some items together in only our inventory, because that is all that exists. First thing we're going to check out is Lumbridge Castle. The cook is here for the first quest, which we'll get to in a bit. But there's also many things here that we can't use. Like this door. No. The holes in the walls. No. The holes came in during the Battle of Lumbridge, which made this crater back in, or which will happen in 2013. So we can't walk through here. There's a whole fence here between the swamp and the rest of Lumbridge. Not that we really want to go to the swamp. There's not too much down there. Besides a mine, which has different ores than the current mine, so... Well, to be fair, lots of mines will have different ores than the current mines. That's just how it's going to be. We will try to find equivalents, make it as reasonable as possible. But there's a lot of things from RuneScape Classic that we can't / won't be duplicating. Like, we can run. Technically, we could turn off run and just walk everywhere at half the speed. But for the most part, that doesn't actually add anything besides just making everything take longer. Combat has a waiting, stuck in combat system if anything is aggressive on us. Technically, we could try to stand around for 3 hits, but also pretty much everywhere is multi-combat now, so it doesn't function that way anyways. And to be fair, that's really only a situation when there are strong enemies attacking you. And so many things were nerfed into the ground with the evolution of combat. So what enemies do exist for us doesn't functionally make much of a difference. Upstairs in the castle, we got the Duke chilling. And up on the top floor, we have nothing. Nothing is here. There's no bank. There's no upper floor here, technically. There is no banks in Lumbridge. Not for a long time. But we will use the bank here just to set it up properly for us. We got our Crown of Loyalty 1 year here in here. This account was used for Hardcore Ultimate on old school RuneScape. Got the Questscape. Got a series on that. Moving it over to here. But we will fill the bank up here. Is that thing old school? RuneScape 3. Return to bank. We can't use the bank in general. We don't have any placeholders. Okay, yeah. Bank fillers. That only exists in old school. The idea here was to fill the entire bank so I could not physically put anything into it or accidentally put anything into it. But yeah, there's nothing in here. Now there's literally nothing in here. We can get this back if we want to. Nothing in the bank. So ultimately there is a bit of trust involved in this series, because I could technically go put things in the bank. But where's the fun in that? I did Hardcore Ultimate on old school, so I'm used to it at this point. Although, to be fair, there's a lot of things that make Ultimate Ironman in old school much more doable. Things that don't exist for us on the first day of the game, but also things that don't exist in RuneScape 3, period. So, there's going to be new things we need to work around, new strategies involved. That's all going to be something. One thing that is not in Lumbridge Castle, which technically should be, is a furnace. Used to be in the castle. That building over there that now has the furnace and the bridge next to it, those don't exist yet. Yep. Also, lodestones don't exist. Lumbridge Stage doesn't exist. All these guards, the Doomsayer. Lots of things don't exist. The church does, though. As much as prayer isn't actually a thing that does anything. You can restore your prayer points that don't do anything. If that's even a thing. Probably not, since you can't actually turn a prayer on to lose any prayer points, so eh. What does exist is Bob. Although, not quite the way it is. There's been updates to what is in stores. If we trade Bob here, he's handing out free bronze pickaxes, bronze hatchets, bronze battle axes, and bronze throwing axes, and sells iron, steel, mithril, and adamant of all of those things. Also, offhands, which are also not a thing. Ultimately, what should be in this shop, and we will treat it as such, is bronze pickaxes, just called pickaxe at this point. There is no other pickaxes. Bronze axes, before they were called hatchets. Iron axes. Steel axes. And iron, steel, and mithril main hand battle axes. Also, the prices of everything is just completely off the rails here. Bronze things are free when they obviously used to cost money. Iron went from costing 16 or 182 to 1260 and 2510. The top of the line mithril battle axe used to go for 1690, is now 5,000. So not only is it going to be more expensive to get things, we're also functioning under the first day, where there's very little we can do to actually make money. We have 0 coins, and any coins are also going to need to take up an inventory space, so that's going to be a problem. We could technically require ourselves to drop coins in order to get bronze equipment, but I'm just going to settle for we need to have coins. We could technically just drop the bronze stuff whenever we want, but that would just be annoying to get back. Also, transportation, not a thing. Here we have the graveyard. This exists. Very spooky. But these holes in the fence do not. We can't get to the swamp this way. Also, Zinnia doesn't exist. In general, most things don't exist. If we run up this way, through Lumbridge, there is a general store, and that's always nice. There's also a achievement here. Those don't exist, but we will inadvertently complete some of them as we move about. They've got free daggers. Again, not actually a thing. And a few things in here that don't exist. Ultimately, this shop should sell us pots, jugs, shears, buckets, tinderboxes, and hammers. There's even changes in RuneScape Classic. There are no chisels or sleeping bags for resting, to stop being fatigued. Also, not a system that exists anymore. There's going to be houses and buildings all over the world with beds in them for sleeping. Have to enter a CAPTCHA, and then you can continue getting experience. But none of those things are things anymore. ultimately, not going to worry about that. Again, prices have changed. Stock numbers have changed. We will just do our best to imitate what existed. Again, this furnace doesn't exist here anymore. Or doesn't exist here yet. And also there's no anvil. So, that's a whole other thing. And everything else up here, also, a big no. At least no functionality. There's no fishing shop. There's no adventurer guy in here. Definitely no market or bank chest. And that is one thing we kind of need to avoid. Bank areas actually heal you now. So fundamentally, that's not going to work. Or it shouldn't work, at least. I guess the first question we need to answer is, how are we going to get a few coins so as to actually say that we can pick up bronze equipment? I guess we'll start by punching some chickens. They have 5 health. We have 100. Want to move that if I can. It's locked. Oh, we hit a 1. Can we kill a chicken? The real question. Yes, not like that. Put the health bar right here in the middle. That's fine. The chicken's trying to flee now. Our punching spree continues. And you would think, yeah, we're fighting a chicken. Let's get some chicken drops. All the good stuff that chicken drops. Once we kill it. Just punching is not viable. Okay, how do you have a health left? This is the bar there, my goodness. We got experience in everything. That is possible. And we started the yak track and got some Christmas paper. Yeah. None of these things are real. Here we have loot, where we can take the bones for training prayer that doesn't do anything. We can take the raw chicken to get cooked meat to heal ourselves. And we can probably take this egg. Egg exists. But the feathers do not. Chickens don't drop feathers. Wild. I know. So we'll punch another chicken. We are taking damage here. And ultimately we want to be able to heal. But I guess the first thing we really want is to be able to actually do damage. A bronze weapon would go a long ways. But with nothing in existence, and also questionable spawns of items on the ground, we're just working with what we got here. We're going to take all these eggs. All these eggs. We are using the loot inventory here. I want this to go away when it's nothing in it. Oh, I was open there. Open when picking up items on the floor. Yeah, that's fine. I can make you close. We still punching this chicken? We totally are. Well, at least it's not aggressive anymore. That's helpful. It's just walking. We're punching. We're making a lot of progress here. I mean, also technically, we keep punching the chickens. Eventually we'll get our skills up. Then we might be able to punch more accurately. But yeah, unarmed combat is horrendous. I would like to kill this single chicken again. That'd be great. You keep doing what you're doing. It's probably gonna be like interface or something to make this close. Well, we're really bad at this. Level 1 in all stats, ladies and gentlemen. One more hit. You can do it. I don't actually believe that. It's becoming clear that we can't actually do this. I mean, technically we can. Loot interface. Loot areas. We want to use area loot. Wanted to open. If loot from the choose option menu also open loot interface. Get the drops. It's fine. There we got some drops. Bones of chicken. Fantastic. Let's see if any of this sells to the general store. Because if it does, that is going to be our ticket here. I have my doubts, though. Although, also, as much as the stock of stores have changed, also how the whole thing functions has also changed. Shops are personalized with, for the most part, a 24-hour restock time, which is very different from everyone having the same stores. So we can see here, we can actually sell some things. So I'm going to sell my chickens, and we will call that good. Also sell the eggs. Why not? So now, we have 44 coins. I'm going to withdraw one of them, because now we have coins that is going to be in the inventory. Coin pouch. Super convenient. Doesn't exist yet. Bones. Giving 4.5 experience. Also not right. But there's no prayers yet, so don't have to worry too much. Now with 43 coins, or I don't know if the 25 coins started in the bank. There's a lot of specific questions about the very start here. But with this, I am comfortable trading Bob here. Buying myself a bronze pickaxe, bronze hatchet, and let's go for the bronze battle axe, since it's here. And it's free, in quotation marks. Wield this bad boy, and now we have a weapon. Now, we are cooking. And we are also technically cooking, because we're going to go get a tinderbox so we can actually cook things. We're going to take the one that actually costs a coin. See where this coin comes from. From the inventory. Inconvenient. But we will withdraw all the money. Whether it goes to the inventory or goes to the coin pouch automatically, either's fine. Also in our currency pouch, we've got ottomans and holiday Christmas wrapping paper. Not going to do anything with those, for the most part. So now, with our new weapon, we can one-hit the chickens, instead of it just being a constant disaster. Again, this is not entirely accurate. Realistically, we would only be able to hit ones, and this is equivalent of hitting threes, but also, it's also equivalent of the chickens having 0.5 health to start. We're going to area loot, and then drop the feathers when we're done. because that's just more convenient. Fred's here. Fred exists. And we've visited his farm for an achievement. Great. And there is a level 2 in attack, strength, and defense. Fantastic. Probably just going to leave it on shared, just for convenience sake. I just don't really want the eggs, honestly. Inventory space is full. Thank you, tutorial pop-up. Appreciate it. Drop these eggs. Guess we're just gonna have to spam click on the bones and stuff. Oh, all the eggs. There's so many eggs here. It's a problem. Feathers don't exist. Get out of here. And meats and bones. Beautiful. Ultimately, having a higher prayer level is going to be helpful. So we're just going to get it 4.5 XP at a time, which technically is better, because bones actually only give 2 experience at the start. So, making big progress there. Let's chop down a festive holiday tree with our bronze hatchet. And all these things are technically on our tool belt, but that doesn't exist. So we're going to do our best to actually have the things instead of using stuff on the tool belt accidentally. So with this, we can make a fire and cook our chicken. We get cooked chicken, not cooked meat, but that's okay. Close enough. Close enough. Burnt food stacks. That's fun. And there's cooking level 2. Delightful. We can now unlock all those other recipes that don't exist. We already have the ability to make cooked meat and bread. But for future use, and for actually healing ourselves, some chicken is nice. So now, we're going to set our sights on bigger prey. There's not too many things that actually exist as of the first day, but goblins are one of those things. And they only have 10 HP, which is 1 as of pre-constitution. And here we get tiny plated salvage and bones. Now there are many bits of salvage on the goblin drop table. Bits of tiny, medium, small. But these don't all exist as replacements for actual drops they used to have. The only bronze item dropped by goblins on the first day was the bronze square shield. So we look at the options of salvage that could have become the square shield, or the square shield became them. It's probably not the tiny one. So I don't think these exist. So where'd that air staff go? It's like just there. Wild. Yeah, we can bop these goblins nice and easy. And get all kinds of drops that don't actually exist. The entirety of the goblin drop table, as of the first day, as far as I can tell: bronze square shield, short bow, crossbow bolts, water, body, and earth runes, coins, goblin armor, beers, brass necklaces, and chef's hats. Of those things, we can still get most of them from the current goblins. But we also can get a lot of things that aren't those things. I mean, here's a chef's hat. That's nice. And I will take these air runes, if they existed, but they don't. Coins go in the money pouch, that's fine. There is 2 prayer. Amazing. Still, does not do anything. We'll wear... Oh, does the chef's hat exist? The chef's hat does exist. Cosmetic and beautiful. Level 3. Attack, strength, and defense. Lovely. Would love to take that bread dough, but that doesn't exist. Charms don't exist, because summoning doesn't exist. That's the wrong salvage again. The bronze square shield was uncommon, so I'm going to say the small bronze salvage is what we're looking for here. Whether or not that's actually going to sell for very much is a question. It's probably fine. And there is 11 hits / hit points / constitution. Amazing. Also, even cabbage is here, which would be nice to heal, but again, not a thing. So yeah, we can fight goblins, get some coins. I don't think we would have been able to punch a goblin to death before dying. They've got twice as much health and probably more defense than a chicken. So, is what it is. Got some mind runes there. That's not a goblin drop. Air runes, also no. I will take some bones though. Ultimately, it's going to be a lot of just burying bones for a very long time. And there's level 4s. Amazing. And combat level 6. Great. Hey, water runes. Those exist. I can take those. So it's going to be a lot of this, just on every thing that we fight, trying to gauge what exists and what doesn't. It's going to be a whole thing. Body runes are real. Take those. But yeah, getting some combat levels here. Gonna help out. Not exactly how much a cooked chicken heals. Would be good to know. It should heal us to full here, if it was the old chicken. But these days, only heals 20, aka 2. So, from everything that exists, cooked chicken was nerfed. Fantastic. One of the 2 foods, and it's nerfed. Amazing. Also bread. Also bread is 2. Great. But anyways, we can fight things. We've got some coins from the drops. So we're going to go explore the rest of the world as it currently stands. See what other shenanigans we can get up to. Possibly sell these runes, since we're not really going to be doing any magic. But here we go. We got a chef's hat and a dream. Next time. Goodbye.